Welcome back. Today I'm going to be reviewing the CV laser module for the Creality Ender S1. The box is pretty straightforward. As you can see here, the first layer comes with a bunch of samples that you could use straight away. So yeah, if you have anything that you want to test, that is probably the right parts to use. So there's a little bit of a felt, some cardboard, the instructions manual, bit of plywood and paper again. So yeah, good sampling. You can throw that straight away and try on your printer. The most important bit is probably this: a couple of magnets, long magnets to keep your thing secured to the magnetic plate. Protective goggles. As you know, the laser is a bit harmful for your vision, so please use them when using the laser. This is the only wire that comes with the kit, and an Allen wrench, a little bit of a wipe there, and this seems to be like a filter and the bracket to attach the laser head. Finally, most of the box size is due to the laser beam itself. The full system comes assembled. There's not really a lot to do. It's literally just swapping the extruder head like this one. So pretty nice, heavy, looks like a good product. Pretty much straightforward and ready to use. This is a little gauge, I think, a lever. And I bought the 5-watt one. As you can see here, the model, so it's the intermediate option in terms of power. I think you have 1.5 and a 10-watt option as well, which obviously will vary in terms of size, but overall looks very nice. In terms of installation, it's pretty straightforward. I just removed it from my enclosure, but all you need to do on the S1 is to take the 4 Allen bolts that you have securing your head, and obviously remove the cable. So start from the ribbon. Just remove the electrical connector. Again, very easy on the S1 with the direct extruder head. Put that aside. You can kind of use some zip ties to secure that. You're not going to need that, and just the usual toolbox and an Allen wrench to remove the bolt. So again, 4 tiny little bolts, very easy and straightforward to remove. It should take you only a couple of minutes to do the whole thing, and after that, put this aside and keep it safe for next time you want to print something. Now get the bracket that came in the kit, and simple and easy, 2 bolts and you're done. So again, get the Allen wrench. I think it's a bit smaller, this one, and just use the 2 bolts. Make sure it's tight and secure, and more importantly, make sure it's leveled with the gantry. So maybe if you have a square or anything, just make sure it's level. Now get the laser module and just undo these 2 screws a little bit. You'll see there's like a channel that slides straight into the bracket you just installed. So just undo the bolts a little bit and hand tie them to the bracket. Now it doesn't say anything about the height, so I'm gonna go as high as I can. I don't think it matters too much because the leveling process is all manual. So as long as it's tight and secure, you should be okay. Make sure both of them are tight. And now the electrical connection is very straightforward on the S1. So you have one single connector here at the top. You can see the white connector there, a 3-pin connector. And in the S1, you will have the same port in the back of the printer. You can see there, it's the laser control module. So not a secret, just plug it, route it outside of the gantry movement, and you'll be good to start the printer. Now the software requirements. So it took me a while to figure out which version. The manual was asking me about that, so I'm gonna leave the link into the description of the video. So annoyingly, this module for the laser is discontinued for the latest version of the Creality slicer called Creality Print. So you need to make sure you find the Creality Print version 3. As you can see here, version 3.12 for Windows and version 3.11 for Mac. Don't get the Creality slicer that doesn't have the laser module. So you need to make sure you use Creality Print version 3. Like I said, again, I will leave the link into the descriptions. The latest version, I think they are currently in version 7. You could use a third-party software for laser engraving, but for now I'll keep the Creality one because it's simple and easy to achieve. So once you open the software, this is what it looks like. It comes as a standard in a normal slicing 3D printer interface. All you need to do is to select the correct printer and be careful not to select any other option. So if you have already pre-selected, just go here and add. As you can see, I have the S1 Plus, but I will not select any of them. I'll select the S1 laser. If you select the Pro or any other, you won't have the option to enable the laser. So despite the size and everything else be wrong for my machine, I need to select laser and edit that later on. So if you put that into your host, you see here I had the plus, and the plus doesn't have the options here, as you can see. If you go to laser, you have these two buttons, one called FDM and another one for laser. So like I said, make sure you select the laser option. From here is pretty simple, really. All you need to do is to load your PNG or BMP or JPEG image. Sometimes I've heard that the PNG can come as a black block like this one you see, but as soon as you start playing with the size, sometimes with the positioning, and you click some options, it kind of shows the image. So make sure you have it before you generate the G-code, otherwise you might just print a black block in the engraving. So once you select the figure, you have the normal parameter configurations here. So this is just a size rotation kind of thing. So as you move there, or if you can type on the right, that's all it does. Processing mode is how this will engrave the part. So you can, like I said, you click it here and you show the image. So maybe just do that every time you see the black block. So you have like black and white, line gray, and jitter gray, and vector. So vector really means you're gonna, just go around the perimeter of the print. I think I'm gonna use that just because I want to see how good it is in terms of cutting vinyl and like a plotter would. You can flip around, you can play with it. So not a lot of options, pretty basic, but it seems to do the trick. Working parameters, I'm not gonna change anything. I'm just gonna go with the default one run count, just in case if you want to cut something thicker, you can run 2-3 times the same perimeter just to make sure you cut. But I'll leave 80% and 1500 millimeters per second. Once you generate the G-code, all you need to do is to save it. I'm just going to call it Subaru and save it in my machine and transfer to the SD card. The machine setup is pretty straightforward. Make sure again everything is connected. You should have the wires free, not to be pinched in the movement. Make sure everything is free. LED will be turned on, and if you were printing before, you see you have the normal printer head, and your thermistor will be reading negative numbers because there's no thermistor anymore. So you go to settings, just find here settings. There you go. I'm just going to turn off the light to see if it's easier to visualize the screen. So on settings, go to advanced set at the top of the screen, advanced settings, and here at the bottom, switched laser engraving. There's going to come a note saying, did you put the correct head in, and just say yes. And this is where you're just going to basically level your laser head. So as you can see here, I have nothing on my bed anymore. I'll turn on the light too again. So what you're going to do is you're going to lower this little arm here. This is to make sure you have the correct focus. So you lower it as low as you can get to touch it to your surface, make sure it's not stuck. If it's stuck, just bump it up until it gets free. Okay, so that is basically your 0. It's almost like setting a Z offset in a normal printing. Here you have some movement options. I'm not gonna mess with that at the moment. What else do we have here? Yeah, I think I'm not gonna change anything, just again moving the Z up and down, so you can load your surface there, the material you want to engrave. In my case here, I'm going to start simple with a piece of cardboard. It's a little bit thick, but I think it will have no problem to go through. Secure that with the magnet. If it's too thick, I'll show you something at the end of the video. It doesn't need to use that most of the times, but if it's thin like a paper, you better use the magnets that came with it. So let me go through the menus here. Apologies, I'm just learning how to use this. So home, no, that's not how we home it. Engrave, ready, yeah, okay, ready basically homes the printer. Again, you see my wire there was a bit short, so make sure it's not going to pinch or pull it. So now the printer is homed. You just need to focus again. To do that, I think we're just gonna, okay, homing again on X and Y. You need to lower, yeah, like I said, make sure you lower now your head until your focus arm hits the surface. Once more, because I'm printing a thin piece of cardboard, I think I can go as low as the print bed here, but if it's something thicker, I'll show you later on how to operate for something thicker than a piece of paper. You see, it's too snug, I need to bump up and the arm is released. So that is good enough for the focus. And in case you didn't notice, there is enough clearance. If you put that in the correct height, there is enough clearance just for the magnets. So, you know, probably I need to find a nice way of securing the material to the bed. But from here is really just load the file as you would on the SD card. Find it, yeah, there you go. Subaru is the first one, as we saved. Press that one and hit engrave. Yeah, press play, engrave. Some warnings here. I think you can move around. Let's try direct engrave. And again, the clearance is just enough to clear the magnets that came with it. So if you're doing something thicker, maybe it's worth thinking about a attachment way. It's pretty silent. Again, I think for the piece of cardboard, it will have no problem. It smokes a little bit, so make sure you have ventilation or wear protection like a mask or something, because it smells, depending on, especially on what you trying to burn and engrave. The fumes might be very bad for your health, so yeah, use some protection about that. This design literally takes a minute to be completed. This is the natural speed, but from now on I'm probably just going to speed that up, so save you some time in the video. But that is a really simple, like I said, I selected the vector mode, which basically means it just traces the perimeter. So my main idea here is to use this as a kind of vinyl cutter, or you know, just to cut something that can be removed after. And as I said, straightforward and very, very quick. It looks really crisp from here, so let's have a better look. Right, as suspected, the cardboard, very crisp, very thin line and cut, and it went completely through the complete thickness of the cardboard. You can see some dust there from the burnt material. So again, I think as a vinyl cutter, this will work very well. Just make sure, I think I can even reduce the power of the laser in the settings, but it cut very nice and clean. Obviously, I was expecting this as well. It went through and it burnt my magnetic build plate. So I think I also need to find like some sort of material, maybe a scrap sheet or bed plate that I have. Second time I've tried a piece of plywood, the one that came in the sampling box, and once more, very nice, very crisp. It didn't go through, so if I wanted to fully cut this, I probably need to try a few passes, but that is really good. That looks very good. Third option of material I had here was a piece of rubber, basically like a little mat that I had, some pieces, and again, very nice, very clean. This is a bit thick, so it didn't even go through, but very nice way of engraving some rubber mats or anything like that. Finally, my phone case is a bit worn and old, so I decided, okay, let me try engraving that, see if I can finally make it pop a little bit. Obviously, that's loose on the build plate. I don't know exactly how, because I had the markings on the bed, I basically centered it by eye, but if you want to do something like that, you're better off just have like a mounting system or something that will ensure you're gonna print it centered. So I'm gonna give it a gamble. Like I said, it's really old, so all you're gonna do is the same thing. You just move your head around and keep lowering it until the probe hits the surface, and that means you're good to go. So lift the arm up, confirm. I probably need to home again, just in X and Y. There you go. And you notice now the head is a lot higher because of the thickness of the case, but it shouldn't matter. Just go direct engrave and start again. Looks like I've done a good job on centering this. So yeah, it looks rough a little bit. I'm gonna wipe it off and see if it gets any better. So yes, after cleaning it, it looks really good. Really, really nice finish. So nice way of personalizing your phone cases if you need to. That's a very good product. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.